Welcome back, Rebel Retiree friends. Are you pondering whether you should move when you retire? Today, I want to share our story about moving over 2,000 miles away and offer some tips for you to consider as you ponder your own retirement. When Rebel Retiree and I look for places to move, we made it a practice to visit area shopping centers to get a feel for people and places in the region. I always like to look at people's vehicles as well. And so on this one occasion, while we were standing in the snowy parking lot of a local mall, this was a place we were visiting to see if we wanted to move there. We spoke to a middle-aged woman who generously gave us her impressions of the area. Her relocation hadn't turned out as planned. She described the people as clannish. She had difficulty finding a church where she felt accepted. And she also asked if Rebel Retiree and I had a good relationship. She thought this was very important because she said you might have to spend a lot of time together, especially if you don't acclimate to the community as readily as expected. So we considered her advice, and we knew that we were pretty much together all of the time, and that wouldn't be a problem. So we continue to move to the Northern Rockies, and it's been over 2 decades now, and we're still happy with the place and the independent people. So my story is not meant to discourage you from moving when you retire, because I do support that. In fact, I encourage people who choose to relocate in retirement. But it is to illustrate the differences in individuals that should be and must be taken into consideration. So moving when you retire, regardless of distance, requires some independence, commitment, and sometimes a lot of courage to face the challenges when you move. So next up, I have some questions that I really think everyone should consider before they move. Why do you want to move when you retire? Are you moving out of necessity or desire? There's a big difference to that. One is necessary while the other brings enjoyment or satisfaction. So if your motivation is to save money, be closer to family, or is it to follow a dream? Be truthful with yourself, because the answers to these will generate different emotional responses. And those emotional responses are indicative of where your heart is. And it's best to go over those feelings before you move than after you move. Regardless of necessity or desire, if you prioritize your values and you have a longing for a different lifestyle, a retirement move can open up a whole new world of adventure and opportunity. Here are some pros of moving when you retire. Moving when you retire has several advantages, and some of the benefits can include a lower cost of living, better health, and a positive outlook on life. Number one, save money. Many Gen Xers and boomers worry about their futures. They fear running out of money for necessary living expenses. One way to keep expenses down and stay within a budget is moving to another state with lower property taxes, no sales tax, or lower cost of living. This could have powerful results on your post-retirement life and give you the financial freedom to focus on what you truly value. Number two, move to fulfill a lifelong dream. Fulfilling a lifelong dream or passion often requires motivation, and moving after you retire is an excellent way to get out of a rut and reverse a stagnant lifestyle. Oftentimes, it's easier to attain goals when we distance ourselves from peer pressure and herd mentality. Number three, improve your lifestyle. Are you maintaining a pre-retirement lifestyle that's no longer practical as when you were in the workforce? If you let go of the big house and the costly toys that you don't need, you can eliminate the waste of high maintenance bills such as insurance, utilities, storage, and so on. Stop paying for what you don't use and focus on what you value. You may find you can afford things that you thought you couldn't. Number four, happiness. Happiness is high on the list for many retirees, and many of us are prone to miswanting, the coveting of something that we mistakenly think will make us happy. Comparing ourselves to others causes stress and reduces happiness. Moving can give you a new perspective. It can help you break free from a retirement comparison thought pattern, resulting in a happier attitude toward getting older. Number 5, a healthier lifestyle. A healthier lifestyle translates to a happier retirement. So, for example, we all know that exercise is good for our health and longevity. If you move to a walkable town, like we did, we moved to Kalispell, Montana. It was absolutely beautiful. And leave your car in the garage, you make a conscious choice toward a healthier lifestyle. We were able to walk to the library, coffee shops, stores, playgrounds. It was a wonderful experience. So this was a rural community with an abundance of outdoor activities where you can hike and bike in the summer and cross-country ski in the winter. It opens the door for improved health. Number 6, cultural and recreational opportunities. If you plan your move wisely, your new home will have amazing cultural and recreational opportunities. Think about what you want in entertainment and look for places with those amenities. Do you want to live in peaceful surroundings where you can easily connect with nature? Is the hustle and bustle of a big city your preference? With this in mind, I'll say that you don't need a big city to enjoy a visit to a museum or a night out at the theater. Rural communities like the one where we live regularly offer seminars, workshops, and plays, and many of them are free of charge. So that's a bonus. Number 7, improve climate. Before moving north, Rebel Retiree and I lived in a hot and humid climate. Having lived there for almost 50 years, we were sick and tired of it. Now we experience 4 distinct seasons and love it. With that said, the weather affects all of us physically and mentally. It can quickly change our mood from negative to positive or vice versa. If you want to escape the heat or cold, moving to a different climate can benefit your health and well-being. Most importantly, though, find a retirement haven that suits you. Okay, those were the pros. Here are some cons of moving when you retire. Everything isn't always as expected, and this can be especially true when moving a great distance. Number 1 con, the expense of traveling to visit relatives. Before moving when you retire, factor in the cost of airfare, gasoline, and automobile wear and tear if you plan to travel by car. That's because visiting family could be expensive, especially if you move far away. And even though retirees often say they want to travel, many of us are on a budget. And if you're accustomed to frequent visit with friends and family, moving may mean you visit them less often because of travel cost. Number 2, missing family and friends. Besides the financial cost of travel, there's also an emotional cost of missing family and friends. It takes courage and commitment to decide to move away from loved ones, because in all likelihood, you won't be able to spend as much quality time with family and friends as you did previously. And I know we have social media, texting, Zoom, and other forms of internet access for staying in touch, but it's not the same as being there. Number 3, not fitting in with the people where you move. When you move to a new place, most people have already established their own groups and have their own friends. So unless you're comfortable making friends, it could be difficult finding a church or a group where you are comfortable and are at ease. As mentioned earlier, take into account your relationship with your partner when planning a retirement move. You can provide moral support for one another if the people in your new surroundings are more culturally and politically different than expected. Number 4, being alone when a spouse dies. The fear of loneliness is a major stressor for aging individuals. While you may find yourself alone at some point in the future, regardless of where you live, moving when you retire could make the death of a spouse more difficult. Because grieving without a support network could be very hard. So when planning a retirement move, consider how you'll handle being alone if your spouse dies. Number 5, the weather is worse than expected. You moved to a state where you vacationed because the weather was glorious. My daughter used to live in Alaska, and she said that a lot of people seem to do this. They moved there when it was beautiful and didn't realize how difficult the winters can be. So now your dreams of lounging on the beach in summer or skiing near your mountain chalet have come to fruition. However, reality is set in, and you aren't prepared for the number of rainy days or cloudy skies you'd have to tolerate. The weather makes you grumpy, even though you're retired to your dream location. Living year-round in a place is different from vacationing there for a couple of weeks. Number 6 is something that I think is really important for people to consider. Your family could pick up and move away. Oftentimes, retirees want to move near to family, and it's based on an idea that they'll be a big part of their grandchildren's lives. They may also picture a support network as they age, and despite good intentions, it's not always a good idea for retirees to move closer to family. Aside from the fact that our adult children and their spouses have their own lives, they aren't always happy about parents moving closer to them. Then there's the real possibility of their relocating for business purposes or otherwise. And so for this reason, don't be disappointed because you had unrealistic expectations of your children and grandchildren. The takeaway from all of this is to evaluate your independence and weigh the benefits and drawbacks before deciding if you should move when you retire. I hope you found this helpful. Please leave your comments and questions below. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thank you for watching. I'm Marlene with Rebel Retirement, and I'll see you next time.